Yo, what's up, children of Earth? Welcome to another episode of Five Deep, a podcast where five friends from around the world get together each week to achieve their goals using accountability. Now, if you are new to the channel, please like and subscribe and share the link. And don't forget, if you are listening to this on a podcast, share the link to your friends and all that gubbins, and welcome on aboard. And if you have just joined us, and if you're watching this on YouTube, don't forget to jump in on the comments and let yourself know to the world that you're here and leave some questions. Now, it is only 3 deep tonight because Harmony cannot be with us and Lee cannot be with us. And the cheeky monkeys let us know at the very last minute, so we wasn't able to get somebody to fill their shoes. So it's just Rodney and Howard tonight, but it's always an honor. How are we doing, gentlemen?
Doing good. We here.
How about you, Howard? You all right?
Yeah, what I'm doing is I was getting prepared to take a sip of some Howard's Blend plant-based protein powder to get my 20 grams of plant-based protein per serving before I go work out later on today. So
what I want you to do is I want you to say that again.
I'm getting ready to take a sip of some Howard's Blend plant-based protein powder. Here's my disgusting looking shake here, but it actually tastes delicious. To get my 20 grams of protein per serving before I go lift some weights later.
Do you know the reason why I ask you to say it again?
Probably to make some very, not something I would agree, amoral or immoral post or something.
No, because I every the day after, on every Tuesday, right? I listen to this podcast. I listened to last week's episode, and you did not bring it up at all. So this is the first, that last week was the first episode. And what is it? Is this episode 19 now? I don't keep a track of it. But in all of those weeks of this podcast, that was the first episode where you didn't promote Howard's Blend.
You're right, because Harmony sent me messages that were going to the IG 5 Deeps official 5 Deep, saying how grateful they were that finally Howard shut up about his damn protein powder.
Nah, it's all good, man. It's all good. This week's episode, we're going to be talking, right, about the moment that everything changed for you in life. Now, this is a question that you brought to the table, Howard, and we're going to talk a little bit about that in a minute. But before we do, I just wanted to go around the room and, highs and lows of the week. Is there anything that occurred in your life last week that you wanted to talk about, or something that happened on the news that you would like to mention? Bring it on up. So we'll start off with you, Rodney.
Well, the highs was definitely, my 2 youngest kids' birthdays, and I got to spend time with them. Had the same birthday, so one was celebrated on Friday and the other one was Saturday. And there's really nothing that I enjoy more than spending time with the kiddos. So that was definitely the high. And I just essentially just showed up. I didn't, both of their mothers just did everything and I just showed up. So that definitely was high. And low. This is a low, but I won't talk about it here. So I did have, just know, everything wasn't rosy. I did have a low.
Cool. No worries. Howard, what about you? What was your high and low of the week, or anything that you wanted to bring up that you saw in the news or the media, or anything that's been, boiling your shit over the week or impressing you?
I did hear some of the chat going on in Voxer today, so I guess I'll wait for Lee to get back to.
Well, what did you hear? What did you hear in the chat today?
Oh, geez, talking about the downfall of society with and I feel bad because Lee's not here. I don't want to talk about it with Lee not being here because I'm big and I don't like to talk about people behind their back if he's not here to kind of go over what he said. But I guess to get back to the high and the lows. So high would be, just moving closer to getting the pre-workout. Thank you, everybody in the group, to chime in on like their ideas of flavors, which one they think would work best. I reached out to my friend Albert, who I met via Hussein. He's a natural bodybuilder. He gave me some feedback because he's used he's a bodybuilder. He used pre-workout, so he gave me some feedback on like what he would suggest. I'm just waiting. I had some additional questions from the manufacturer, so once he gets back, then I'm going to submit the payment to make the samples, so then I can try to see how it tastes, see how it works, if it makes me sick, because who knows, who knows how my body's going to react. So that's a high. Another high is Sam met a really cool little 2-year-old, almost a year younger than him at the park the other day. And they were just playing and they got along. And it was cool because the family's from Italy. So the mother was speaking Italian. And it was fun. It was fun. And then I guess low like Rodney. Yeah, I'm not going to go on to it now here, but just a lot of stress that's just been like stressing me out. And, that get at the boiling point sometimes, but
how do you two deal with this, with stress then? When stress comes into your life, what's the best way that you deal with it, Rodney?
Depends on what the situation is, but there's sometimes when if I'm able to take a moment and have some time to myself, that's usually gets the best results for me. But there's other times you just lose your shit in a stressful situation. But I usually reflect on it either way. The best thing that I can do is, like I said, get away, maybe a walk, some fresh air, breathing, and the gym too. The gym is getting a good workout on after a stressful situation or a stressful day. Usually is pretty good.
Have you still been going down to the beach and walk along the beach and that? Because you tried that out.
I go and sit at the beach. I'll go sit and look out. I haven't walked on the beach yet.
Right. Okay. How about you, Howard? How do you deal with stress?
Similar. When I get really, really upset, I find it helps to go take a walk outside. I've mentioned before, I go to the trails sometimes. Being alone time. The gym also helps, but then also yelling out a lot of expletives, to myself, like in a room where I just let the anger out. And then I notice, okay, now I feel a little bit more relieved.
I generally find that like my job is really good for relieving stress. I think that the job creates the stress when I'm in the office, but when I'm out of the office, just walking the streets, with a bag of mail, I'm just being by myself. That's what I do love about my job, is that it's good. Once you're in the office and then you leave, you're there by yourself for 5 hours. You can do what you want. You can do it in the order that you want to do it in. You can listen to a podcast. You can do what you want. So sometimes for me, being in work eradicates stress. And I know that sounds a little bit crazy, but my high and low of the week, right? My high is it's quite appropriate because my high was getting high on Saturday. My friend Kenny brought these hash cakes down, these edibles down, and it's been a while since I've done anything like that at all. And I thought, right, I'll give it a go. And it was really good at the time, but come the end of the evening, when there was a lot of people around me, I was just didn't feel that it was just everybody was getting on top of me and it was getting a little bit too hectic. So it kind of toes in line with my low as well, is that I'm not feeling it anymore. Do you know what I mean? I wanted to try it to see what it was like, but I'm not feeling it anymore, to be honest with you. There was a reason for giving up drink and giving up drugs and all that sort of stuff. And, 3-4 years down the line of not doing it, I understand the reason why I gave up. Well, actually, it was 2013 was the last time I had anything to smoke or anything like that. So it's been a long time and I haven't really missed it at all. But there you are, guys. So non-conformist. Great topic. I journal and collect plants when stressed. I'm running out of space. Collecting plants. That's an interesting one. Is there anything that you two collect?
What do I collect?
Nah.
Well, I used to collect baseball cards and everything, but I don't collect anything now. Now I'm trying to actually get rid of a lot of the stuff that I have, to less stuff to move. But I do see the nonconformist collecting plants. I mean, I talked about going to the trails, being around all those trees. It helps in the wildlife. It helps calm me down. Maybe that has something to do with it. But the plants there, they release the oxygen. Who knows what that is?
Yeah.
So now I want to point something out about that. She also says she's running out of space. So does that mean that you just the stress you just out there just grabbing those plants when you get a little annoyed and you're running out, or some of it is just for your peace in general?
I done a podcast there Friday evening with a guy called Jonas Roach, and he does a YouTube channel called Bonsai Cornwall. And I had a chat to him about bonsai. That was really, really interesting because up until Friday, I thought that bonsai was actually a tree. And I thought, it's great podcasting with people because you learn so much. And he taught me that bonsai is actually the Japanese saying for tree in a pot. So it can be any tree at all. So he has gifted me a bonsai, which is going to be interesting because, he's going to drop it around at some point over the next week, 2 weeks or something like that. And I've got to keep this freaking thing alive. Now, that's easier said than done in this house when I live with Nikki, who manages to kill every single plant known to man. She is like the Terminator in the plants. If anybody heard of that film or documentary called The Triffids that was years and years ago by the BBC, where all of these massive plants took over the world, she would have been perfect for that because she would have killed them no problem at all. But do you have any problems with plants there at all, Howard? Do you manage to keep plants growing, or do you just not bother keeping plants?
We do not have, I'm looking here, all our plants are fake plants. Maybe one is real, but all of them are fake. And outside in the little patio, the apartment takes care of those.
Yeah. Well, there you are. There you are. Right. Well, moving swiftly on, we're now into June. So we didn't do our goals for May, did we? How did you get on with your goals, Rodney? Can you remember what goal it was you set? Because it seemed a lot. May was a month that kind of went on quite a bit. Can you remember the goal that you set, and how did you get on with it?
Probably was, I don't remember. It probably was work. Hell of a accountability group. I think it was work and continue my work rate and working out. So I was the gym was maybe I averaged twice a week when I wanted to do more than that, but and the work, you guys know behind the scenes I'm always telling you I'm going to work, so work is always there and available. So I did a stretch like 16 days without a day off, so that was kind of cool.
What about you, Howard? What was your goal?
Just keep moving forward on the pre-workout. So yeah, just slowly but surely I'm taking steps forward on that. So it'll be fun when I actually order it, and then if we decide to move apartments, that's gonna be fun. I wonder then if it's gonna where the fuck did they deliver that stuff?
How much powder have you got at your house then? Have you got like cupboards full of it? Is it like under the stairs everywhere?
Thank you for mentioning that, because to let everybody know,
here we go,
that I am running low on inventory of Howard's Blend plant-based protein powder. I'm in the process of trying to order more, trying to get how much it's going to cost to ship it to me. So sooner rather than later, I'm going to be out of it temporarily as I wait for a refill. So if you're wanting to try some Howard's Blend plant-based protein powder, if you tried it before and you want to try it again, thank you very much. At Howard's Blend on Instagram, hit me up.
How much do you reckon it will have gone up in price then since your last order? Because obviously everything in the world seems to have gone through the freaking roof, doesn't it? Do you envisage it to go up a lot?
Not really. No, it's over $1. I'll tell you that. Not much.
I meant for not for the person to buy it. I'm talking about you as a.
For me, yes.
For you.
Yeah, it went up like $1, like a little over $1 per bag.
Right.
So
okay.
It adds up when you order a significant amount. So
are you passing that on?
No.
Now you just
at this point, I'm just going to eat the cost because
okay.
I know it's kind of difficult for people out there. So
all right.
So this week's episode, then 15 minutes in, it was a question that you brought to the table, actually, Howard, wasn't it? The moment that everything, when was the moment that things changed for you? Do you want to talk a little bit more about this question?
Sure. Just took a sip of some Howard's Blend plant-based protein powder with 20 grams of plant-based protein per serving.
He's doing his best to get it in there tonight, isn't he?
He looked. You
It's
see him
only
look
us.
around. He looked
Since
around
it's
to make
only-
sure Harmony
since it's
wasn't
only
there.
us three. Yeah. So we talked about in the earlier episode about I talked about how being in the hospital was a significant impact, and how it was things happening externally to me that got me to kind of get my butt in gear. So I thought, oh, that'd be kind of interesting. I've talked about mine, and I know Harmony have mentioned, how she's had relationship issues and substance abuse issues and stuff. So I thought maybe a good topic to talk about. It could either be one or multiple instances in our life where something happened, and it could be good or bad, I guess, that changed our view on life and got us to take a different direction. So I can start off with I've already talked about one. It's probably one of the most significant ones, is spending almost exactly to the hour 3 days in the hospital, at the New Year's Eve 2008 to, what would that be, January 2nd 2009, in the hospital, not knowing whether I'd get out of the hospital alive. When I finally was released, I think I weighed like not even 90 pounds, like soaking wet, 90 pounds, and still trying to find some pictures back then, because that would be interesting to post to Instagram, because you can see I look like a concentration camp person just released from a concentration camp. So, and that changed at that time. It changed because I realized, like, oh man, I need to do something. If I do not take an active role in my health, I will not be around to see another New Year's, and probably even less than that. Yeah, that was big. It got me into finally deciding to go back to college to finish up my degree. And thankfully, my dad taught me to put money aside. Lee's probably bashing his phone to pieces, like, no, you're saving money. But
Don't put it in savings, whatever you do.
Thankfully, it wasn't in Bitcoin, because now it wouldn't be no or nothing. But I saved up enough money to where I didn't have to take out student loans or anything. And I was able to pay as I went. And I went to school and finished it. And then I had a job before I even graduated college. And I remember the other people in the room that I was graduating with, I was the only one that had a job lined up for after graduation. So yeah, it just it made me maybe take a second look at life and be like, okay, I need to be very grateful that I'm here, the amount of time that I have, and that, yeah, life gets difficult. It sucks, and it happens to everybody. Some have a harder life more than others, but just do my best to look at the bright side of it and be like, okay, I'm grateful that I'm here, and that I need to do my best to try to make a positive impact on other people's lives as well, as long as I'm here doing it. So, and then what is it, 13 years later, I finally have supplements. Hey, better late than never, I guess.
That's it, brother. That's it.
So for you then, it was a case that you had to change your life, wasn't it? It wasn't a choice. It was a case that you had to change life, or you wasn't going to be here. What about for you, Rodney? Was yours a similar story? Did you have to change life, or was it a case that you chose to change your life?
I would say I had to. I felt like I had to change my course. That was finding out that I was going to be a father as a teenager. And before that, I kind of, I had a time frame where I spent a lot of time in the streets. And then I got to the point where I was, 1 foot in, 1 foot out, and really wasn't planning before, really didn't have the forethought about, what's life going to be like after, 21, because I really didn't plan, when a lot of me and my friends, we talked about, like, hey, we're not going to be here at 21. So we really even look at life at 40 or 25. So finding that out, and then like having to, it gave me like a little bit of a little more purpose, like, oh, I want to be around, you know what I'm saying? So part of that transition was, and it was slow, but removing myself from certain atmospheres is not just leaving the streets alone as far as participating, but um, not even being in certain places. So that was a little bit more slow, but what I did, the transition was, before, when it was trouble, I was around. I wanted to be around in trouble. I wanted to see everything through. And, if somebody called me and was like, "Hey, we got a problem," oh, I'm running to the situation. That changed to like, okay, nah, I think I'm gonna go home. Or if I had a bad feeling, I'm like, yeah, let me get out of here. You know what I'm saying? So it changed because I wanted to be here, to see, my baby born. And then when she was here, it was like a whole nother shift. Like, okay, now somebody's relying on me. So I have to, like, my decisions as far as that type of stuff has to be better on that. So is in many moments, like I've had so many different moments where there's been shifts, but that was really like the first time that I can remember vividly, like being like, I got to do something.
It's funny, isn't it? Our children, when you're expecting children, when the woman that you're with is expecting your children, whatever you want to say, it's amazing how things do change, isn't it? And I I can hear Harmony saying, "Come on, lads, come on." This shit's boring. Is there anything you've got better to say? But it's true. I mean, I found that all my life, when I was in school, I was a popular child. People liked me. I felt almost like when I got to the age of 16 that I split up with a girlfriend at the age of 16. That it kind of like it changed me as a person. I thought the world of this girl, and one day she just said to me, I don't want to be with you anymore. For this, she didn't give me a reason. If she'd said to me that that's it, we're finished, because I don't know, your dick's too small, or or you don't spend any time with me, then that's fair enough. You can work on it. But she finished with me and she didn't give me a reason. And I kind of think that I went into sabotage mode then. I think that I tried changing myself and tried to be somebody different to try to impress other people. And, I think that it's taken me, no bullshit, guys. I think it's taken me like 20, 30, nearly 30 years now to work out how to better myself and to make myself a better person. And sometimes you have to go into your inner self, your inner thoughts, and work out, right, where did my life change? When was I last happy? When did it start going shit? Why did it go shit? And I think for me, it was just the case that I was listening too much to what people had to say. I think I was looking at myself too much, not loving myself enough, and just worrying about too much about what people thought of me rather than what I thought of myself, if that makes any sense. And, I just done a little bit of self-analyzation and realized that, I'm the most important person in my life. I hate saying that because you automatically say, oh, my children and missus is the most important person in my life, but they're not. You are the most important person in your life. Full stop. Once you can love yourself and respect yourself, then you can start loving the people around you. They're important. They're very, very important to me. But, it all boils down to you loving yourself, doesn't it?
Yeah. And it is, you do have to be selfish, and it is sometimes just hard on the people around you because they don't necessarily understand it. Um, so, it's not, the things that I do or things that I had to do, the way I may be selfish in a sense. Like for me, what I do for a living is respond to certain kind of calls. And whether it's a medical call or whatever the case is, I always, when I talk to guys, I always tell them, observe the scene when you get there, scene safety, you know, because if you're going to a call of service and somebody is down with chest pains, or you get the call for somebody with chest pains and you just run in there without looking around, um, you don't know what you're walking into. So you always seeing safety, and the first person they talk about in first responding is yourself. You're seeing safety. That's why now you guys see with all the stuff going on now, there's the big push for PPE, right? They want you to put on your gloves, put on your mask, your gown, so you can go in and be safe, and then you can tend to whoever. Then you can, if it's a triage or it's just a simple medical call or whatever, then you can take care of people, and that essentially is what you're talking about. I know people don't look at life in that necessarily in that comparison. The comparison usually is the airplane with the oxygen
Mm.
mask. How they tell you that That's usually the comparison. But there's many comparisons where you can look at and say, yo, listen, if I'm not okay in this situation, I can't help the situation. So part of it is that. I just want to segue into, that was another thing too. Me and sitting in a therapist office and having them, you know, in a constructive way, talk to me and give me ideas, and having them essentially help me pick apart my life in a constructive way. It gave me more of a clear idea how to navigate as well. So there's many moments, but I would say that definitely once you started loving yourself, it's easier for you to do the things you want to do.
One of the things that I found was really, really difficult because it was dealing with self-sabotage. And I think we possibly done an episode on self-sabotage in the past, but I would beat myself up over silly little things. It's funny how your life is going perfect, and all of a sudden that inner person in your mind says, right, your life's going too good now. I'm not going to allow it to carry on being great. Right? You need to do something. You need to piss the missus off. You need to, I don't know, drink 20 beers and get in your car and crash it into a wall. This, something in your life it's all going too well. You need to self-sabotage. And that's something that I've done a lot since the age of 16. Relationships, numerous stuff, jobs, the lot. I tend to self-sabotage myself. And that is a difficult thing to get your head around, and you need to love yourself first. And then once you start loving yourself, then you can start getting rid of these things like self-sabotage. But I still suffer from it today. The issue that I have at the moment with self-sabotage is food. And it's kind of funny because we brought up a conversation there in the week, and I can't remember exactly what it was about. I can remember Harmony kicking us in the balls about it. But we was having a discussion in Voxer, wasn't we? And Howard said something that I agreed with about drinking fizzy drinks through a straw. That was it. I brought a thing up, didn't I? We was talking about milkshake, drinking it through those stupid plastic paper straws from McDonald's. And the conversation got going about, do we drink from straws? And Howard said, yes, I drink from straws because my dentist has told me to drink through a straw because it stops, it keeps my teeth healthy. The sugar doesn't rot my, get rid of the enamel. And I'm exactly the same. My dentist has told me to drink through a straw. But it's kind of funny because what Harmony made me look at there was, okay, so it's all right for me to drink through a straw, sugary drinks through a straw to protect my teeth, but it's not right, really, that I should be drinking that sugary, shitty substance in the first place that's affecting my health. So it's kind of like, I know that's going a little bit off piste from the actual conversation we were just talking about there, but it's funny, self-sabotage and the excuses that you make towards it, isn't it?
Yeah, she also threw in, what about that piece of cake? The sugar in the cake.
Exactly. And it's true. It's true. We all make excuses. About little things, but it's you sometimes have to step back and look at the shit that you talk and the excuses that we make, don't you?
Yeah, you can talk yourself. You can make an excuse for anything, literally. Like if instead of just saying, you know what, I'm feeling lazy today. You can talk about all the things you want to talk about, but you just didn't feel like doing it. And I think if that's authentically who you are, and you express that, even if people don't like it, I think you'll be better for it that you actually got it out, and just said, hey, so that way you're not trying to, because next week you might try the same excuse. You said the same thing last week. So the best bet is to, when you have that, if you don't want to do something, just don't try to wiggle your way out of it. Just say, man, I don't feel like doing that shit, and then don't do it.
Right,
you justify what we're doing. Oh, it's whatever. I'm not going to have. I'm going to drink Coca-Cola through a straw, but this one piece of cake won't hurt me. Well, then, yeah, more than likely, the Coke isn't going to rot your teeth out of one Coke of it. But it's so. Yeah, I mean, I also wanted to say something, what you said, Mark, when you said you self-sabotage, that's probably why that lady broke up with you when you were a teenager, because you did something to self-sabotage it.
That was all to do with jealousy. It was my first proper relationship, and I wanted to spend all of my time with her. Basically, that's what it was. And you know, I just was smuggling her, and she didn't feel that she was in the, you know, she liked me and what it was all about, but I was smuggling her, and you know, she didn't give me that answer. If she had told me that, then I could learn. But the problem is then you go into every relationship after that, you know, and then the next person finishes with you and they don't give you an answer. And then all of a sudden you start making every relationship, you start putting pressure on yourself with every relationship then, self-sabotaging yourself. You know, things are going too well in this relationship. I've got to do something now to self-sabotage this, because else they're going to finish with me and I'm going to be, you know, back to square one again. So, that's, and I actually went for counselling about that. And that's what the counsellor said, is that, you know, this girl hurt you. The second relationship you was in was exactly the same. You know, now you're putting self-sabotage on your future relationships because you don't want that to happen again. So you are making shit happen that doesn't need to happen.
The self-fulfilling prophecy. You're
Yeah,
doing it because you let me get rid of her first. So before she, whatever.
Yeah.
Well, at least, Mark, I will say that at least you had a girlfriend when you were in grade school.
No, I did. Well, I didn't
I
actually.
was,
I didn't.
I was alone.
Well, as my youngest says, he's a single Pringle.
Now that I look back, I'm like, man, Howard, you were wise back then. Like, don't get involved.
I said to Ethan, my 8-year-old, on Saturday, I said, Ethan, why haven't you got a girlfriend then? He goes, I'm not down with that. I'm happy to be a single Pringle. And I fucking laughed my head off. I thought that was a brilliant.
That's wise words.
my man,
Wisdom.
my man. Hey, so I just want to go back because you know, over the years we've had these words where we it's just different words, and you said you were smuggling her. Smuggling in the States is like, you know, like you're putting her in your car and bringing her across city lines. Like, I know you. I know what you meant.
Crossing the Rio Grande.
I think I meant smothering.
Yeah, you meant smothering her. I just wanted to poke fun at the terrible English, the old English language, which is terrible and should be obsolete.
Well, no,
I've been guilty
it's
of
not
that,
the English
man.
language. It's the way I interpret the English language, because I always get my words muddled up and end up saying the wrong things. So yeah, I was smothering her, should we say?
I've been guilty of that. I've lost at
Smuggling
least one
girls?
off the top of my head. That I was just too attentive to her, you know. So it's like, oh, okay, no,
That's a nice way
it's
of
not going to
putting
work out. It's not going to work out.
That's a nice way of I was too attentive to her.
Yeah, putting it nicely. It's like, all right, whatever.
Relationships are a funny old thing, aren't they? To be honest with you, I mean, when do us men ever learn? I don't think we ever learn, do we? It's like a next chapter of the book. As you go along in life, you know, you turn the page, you move on to the next chapter, and hopefully by the time you're 60, 70, you haven't pissed too many off along the way.
Yeah, you know, we you know, the men are, you know, boys, you got to be bold and brave and stand up, and you know, you think you're right all the time. You have to make decisions. Men make decisions, and you got to stand on it, even if it's a bunch of bullshit. We end up standing on these decisions, and then, you know, usually, you know, years later or months later, or you know, sometime later, you go, yeah, that was, yeah, like that. That was like a cold, harsh reality for me, sitting in the therapist, in the counselor's office or whatever, and I'm like, yeah, no, that, this, that, and that. That's a bunch of bullshit. Like, in those words. You know, it's like, what you mean? You know, and I'm trying to explain it away, but it's like, nah, you know, I didn't look at it like that. And then one of the major things was like the common denominator. Like you said, you moved on to one relationship and to another and to another. So he was like, so what's the common denominator and all this stuff? And it was me.
Yeah. Yeah. So not prying in too deep then, but when you went and seen a counselor, was it a male or a female counselor that they went and seen?
Well, I'm not going to say how many I've had, but I've had multiple, and it's not unisex, multiple different types of, there's women and men that I've seen.
So do you find it easier to talk to men or women about your personal problems?
I don't have a problem with talking to somebody. I think perspective, to me is, a different set of eyes, right? You sometimes you're looking for something and you looking around the room, you can't see it, Somebody walks in, it's like, oh, here it is right here. So that's the thing was it was for me, like getting another pair of eyes and some listening ears and to see why I'm having such a hard time with some of these things. Seeing if the information or the way I deliver things, why is it not being received the way I think I'm saying it? And in the therapy, they ask you a lot of questions, you know, make you, think and answer these questions. So it didn't really matter who. I don't look at, if you can get me right, if you can get me quote unquote right, and I'm all for it no matter what.
How about you, Howard?
Well, I remember one psychologist I saw for a time when I was trying to get over my health issues, because for a time I thought I had anorexia, and I was like, okay, maybe I'm doing it subconsciously, and it was a guy, and I guess I'm trying to think. I don't think I've ever seen a female psychologist. I saw a psychiatrist. It was a guy as well, but I mean, I guess I'll talk to either men or women. I guess my first choice would be to talk to a guy about it, because I think a guy would kind of understand maybe where I'm going through other than a woman. But yeah, I would talk to women as well.
I always find it more easier to talk to the opposite sex about issues. I think that from what I've noticed, and this just might be me reading into it too deep, but I always find that females will tell you more as it is than what the men do. The men, well, I don't know. I've only ever been to see one therapist, and it was a female, and it was quite funny because I was paying her like £40 an hour. And I can remember going in there, and for me, that back then that was a lot of money. And I sat down there and I told her the problems and what I was going through, and it was my fault, and told her it all, laid all the cards on the table. And then she was talking about previous relationships and how I'd been affected by that a lot. And after about 4 weeks, I'd spent all of this money, and I couldn't see that it was going anywhere whatsoever at all. So then I just basically said, look, yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, I've learned so much. I've learned so much. I think I'm good now. And I've just done a runner. And it's kind of funny because, now 20 years down the line, money isn't everything to me anymore. So I would have I would have carried on until I knew exactly what was going on. But, funny now, I look back on the conversation I had with her, and I understand everything that she was saying. And, it might have been 15, 20 years later, but, it's now that I've changed that process, and, and that it's now that it's working. So it might have taken that time to do it. But, as you get older and you get wiser, it does become a lot easier, doesn't it?
I will say,
God, I'm sorry.
I was going to say, I will say, I just remembered the wife and I used to go see a marriage counselor, and that was a woman. So I wanted to remember that. So I have seen, I guess, a marriage counselor would count as counseling, and she was really good. She listened, and they kind of do the whole non-judgmental thing. Whatever, they listen to both sides. They'll talk to us individually, whatever. But yeah, so I just wanted to say that because I remembered. I didn't want to leave information out. This is our chance to say things that maybe we want to correct from previous episodes, or if we forget something, which is an inside statement on our part. Voxer chat talk. I'll be quiet.
Did you want to say something there, Rodney?
I lost my thought.
Yeah. So, another semi-header that you put there, Howard, was what did you learn from it? So, the moment that changed everything in your life, now that you're in this stage, however long it may be in your life, from the time you made that initial change, what have you learned from that change? Looking back over the years, what have you learned from that?
Yeah. So one would be what I mentioned earlier, is just to appreciate the time that I have here in life, because it's kind of cliche where people say, oh, life is valuable and everything, and life is precious, but it is. I mean, in an instant, we were talking about, I heard Rodney and everybody talking about that in the Voxer chat. In an instant, it can be changed forever. And so I didn't expect to have to go in the hospital. I was going to like, okay, let me enjoy the New Year's Eve, and then get the call from the doctor saying, "Hey, Howard, you literally have no immune system. I had no white blood cells." So he's like, "If you catch a cold, you will die. You got to go into the hospital right now." It's just one thing is to appreciate life and just, yeah, that's the big lesson I learned from it, is just to try to appreciate the time that I have here, and that kicked my butt into taking the reins at that time to go back to, like I said, go back to school, and I was the top of my not the top, but I was in the top 5% of my class in high school, and then in college I was a horrible student. I was like you, Mark. I kind of self-sabotage. I just like, I don't really care.
Use that name.
Yeah.
I don't care anymore. Well, what I mean by that is that you said you were guilty of like self-sabotage. So I did the same thing. I was like, in the sense that I was like, I didn't really care anymore. I was like, okay, I'm going to put in a half-ass effort, and then I expect to get the grades that I got when I was in high school. It's like, no, it's a completely different thing. And so so I was like, okay, Howard, let's go back to school. You've already gone through, what was it, 80% of it, over the past 12, 13 years, however it was. Let's go ahead and finish it up. So then I finished the school, and then was able to get into the President's Scholars List for good grades and everything. It's, I found that carrot again. And that's when I realized, like, okay, I need that carrot in order to go after. I need something, an end result, a goal or whatever, to go after it, and I had that in grade school when I was like, okay, I need good grades for college. That's what got my butt in gear. But then once I got into college, I was like, is this it? This is what I did it all for, so I needed something else then to go after. So then it became, hey, either change the way you're living or you're dead. So it became the next, carrot. So
What about you, Rodney? What did you learn from your mistakes? From then to today, what have you learned from it?
The main thing was that I did want to live. At a certain point, I felt like I didn't care if I lived or not. But like I said, life, piggybacking off Howard, life is precious. It's like one of the things that I learned, and it took me a while to like completely get where I am now, where I may go like to the annoyance of some people, I may go the opposite direction. Like, like I want to, I'm in search for the ultimate peace, because I don't know if I'm going to drop tomorrow. So let me find some peace today, or at least if I, through my actions, not cause anybody any harm on purpose. So it gave me a sense of, having a kid gave me a sense of like, okay, all right, somebody's relying on you. Okay, now that I'm working, now that it opened up the door for this, and then it opened up the door for me to meet new people, and then I just found like that energy for life, where at a certain point my life was strictly a particular corner. You know what I'm saying? And we, fellas out there, we like, we gonna die here. Like this, we're gonna live here, we're gonna die. I'm never leaving here. Now, if you go back to the place now, that project is not even there. It's a whole different building. But at some point, having a feeling that I wanted to live opened up more doors for me and more possibilities, where it changed my mindset. So I would say I learned that, how precious life was. If you grow up in a situation where people are dying all around you, and you expect that for yourself as well, you get desensitized to it, and it becomes like, okay, this is what I am, and this is who I'm going to be, and this is, no matter what. And we even like was pledging allegiance to the shit, like, nah, this is what we're going to do. So having somebody that needed me, and then from there opening up the possibilities of, maybe, like I said, meeting new people and just get different perspectives, getting out of that echo chamber of, victimhood, and finding so just that one little thing changed, and then it opened up all these other things for me.
For me, what I've learned is that the reason why I self-sabotage myself, I've looked back on it. Once I discovered that, once I'd worked out that I self-sabotage, that the reason why there's so much pain in my life is because a lot of the time it's me that brings this pain on through self-sabotage, right? So once I realized that I was self-sabotaging myself, I could then analyze myself and say, right, where does this stem from? Where did it come from? And for me, I look back on it now, and from as a little kid, I was a daydreamer in school, and I always had teachers telling me that I wasn't good enough, or I was told by my parents that I needed to lose a bit of weight, or I was called a specky twat or a ginger. Not from my parents, may I add, but just from random people. I learned now, looking back on it, that I listened too much to what people had to say. And, now I'm in a situation at 45 where I don't care what people say. I don't let them get to me anymore. So by not having people get to me, right, and not caring what people say to me, just letting it go in one ear and out the other, I've now learned that I can control my self-sabotage. Now, it's always going to be there. I know that is a problem that I'm going to deal with, and I'm currently going through it with my food at the moment. I'm eating too much. I've done really well losing weight, but now I'm self-sabotaging myself for some reason. I don't know why, through food. And that's something that I'm working on at the moment. But every day is a learning curve. And I realize now that, the things that happen in life to me, good or bad, I make those good or bad things happen 90% of the time. And whenever I make the bad things happen, it's generally because I'm trying to self-sabotage myself, because there's an on-off switch. When the bad comes in, you either turn it off or you allow it to continue. And for me, when I allow it to continue is because I want it to affect me somehow. I think it's almost like, you see all these people, I don't know what it's like over in the States, but you see a lot of people here in the UK, specifically women, girls, should I say, teenagers, that self-harm themselves. It's a similar sort of thing, self-sabotage, rather than having the pain come in and ignoring it or dealing with it. Their way of dealing with it is self-sabotaging themselves, is cutting themselves, and I think that we've all got a mechanism in our life to control self-sabotage, but some can and some can't. And, it's something that I'm going to have to deal with. And the only reason why I've changed is because I now love myself and don't really care about what anybody has to say.
I remember this is maybe a couple years ago or something like that. I made a post, and I remember it was in my wife's car in the garage, where I was talking about how, like, I don't give a crap what people say. And, but I think I've changed on that over time. I care what people think, but it depends on who the person is. Like you guys, if I put something in there like, hey, I'm saying X, Y, and Z, whatever, and then Harmony gets on my butt, or you guys push back on it, I care about what you guys think because you guys are my accountability group, and I care about what my son, when he speaks in full sentences, what he thinks about me. But I think to what you were saying, Mark, it's like just the people that really don't matter, then if they're not helping me move forward, why do I care about what their opinion is? Their opinion of me is none of my business or something.
I was just about to say that. It's none of your business what other people think about you, Howard. It's none of your business whatsoever. And I just wanted to just put a comment up there from Non-Conformist. She's put, I'm thankful for this discussion. This year started off rough. I contracted COVID and felt like utter crap. Then a colleague took his own life at the job on V-Day. I'm just grateful for more of this. And thank you very much for that. It's comments like that means a lot, really, because when you hear people say thank you, you know that you're doing something right. And the whole purpose of this group is to help one another out. And that's the reason why we said, Howard brought up the idea a few months back now. Well, why don't we actually put this out on YouTube? Because if we're helping one another, there's other people in life that we can help. So I'm glad that you're finding this conversation interesting. And yeah, very, very good. I've got a little thing here I'd like to post up. Are we all done on this topic here now, guys?
I mean, we could talk for hours upon hours, but I mean, if you want to,
Well, all I'm saying is we're 50 minutes in. We've got about 10 minutes left, and I would like to bring a new feature into the show, if you don't mind.
Oh, no.
It is called,
I'm hesitant. All right.
The feature is called, right, you ready for this? What would Harmony say? Now, Harmony is not here, and this is going to be a segment that we're going to bring in now whenever Harmony's not here. So the question quite simply is, Harmony's not been here this evening. She cannot be with us. What would Harmony say if she was here? Rodney, over to you.
Yeah, you just spring this on us, man. What would she say about what in particular?
Well, from the conversation that we've had this evening, I mean, have we, listeners out there, have we done well? Have we answered the question for you? The moment that everything changed, have we answered that well for you? Or what would Harmony have said? How we've answered this question?
I can't give you what exactly she would have said, but after going up each one of our backsides and down, she would just, I think she would be an advocate for not being a victim anymore and taking life by the balls and being a squeaky wheel. And don't forget, fuckers, get on Instagram. And I haven't seen you on Instagram. Get your asses on Instagram.
Share that shit. Come on, share it.
What would Texas Harmony say, Howard?
Well, what would Texas Harmony say? She'd say, come on, you fuckers. I mean, get off your fucking asses and then take control. Set boundaries. If you got somebody in your life you don't like, tell them to fuck off if they don't like it. And then if you're still stressed up, go run. Go grab a dog and go run for like 20 miles or something like that. Put it on TikTok. Put it on TikTok. And then afterwards you can have some avocado toast on artisan bread.
Fantastic. I think that she'd be pleased, to be fair, that we have been transparent tonight. But I do think a couple of times she'd have come in and go, come on, guys, for fuck's sake, let's have some more info. Let's have something more. None of the boring shit. Come on, none of the boring shit. I think she would have been trying to stoke the fire for a little bit more information from us, to be honest with you.
Shit, did you check Voxer? She might have been giving us the business in Voxer. So.
Heck, there's some stories I could say that I think YouTube would ban us for, like, pornography or something like that. And that kind of changed my life in a way, but
well, pornography.
Come on, I want to hear the good shit. Come on. Oh, I want to spend time with your kids and everything. If you got 6 months to live. No, I want to hear cocaine and hookers and all that stuff. Which, hey, that's a more exciting way to end your life, or, to finish off the rest of your life. Had that if you had 6 months to live.
It is. But one thing that I discovered this weekend, going on about cocaine and hookers. No, I didn't. I didn't experiment with cocaine and hookers while Nikki was away. But one thing I did realize is that if you was into cocaine and hookers back in the days, 20 years down the line, things change. Like I said, I used to smoke weed, and I used to really enjoy smoking weed. Weed was a big part of my life. And even though I didn't smoke it this weekend, even though I did have an edible, I realized that it isn't anymore, because I kind of feel that my life has changed now. I'm in a better place in my life. So I don't need to be taking that shit. I don't need to be, I don't need to be doing stuff to make me feel better, because I'm going out and I'm doing snorkeling, and I'm going out and some of the things that I saw this weekend in the water, amazing fish and jellyfish. I saw a jellyfish pulsating in the water coming towards me, right? And it's like, we all see jellyfish when we're walking on the beach that get swept up to shore, but to actually be in the sea and having it coming towards you and all of these fish, there's more important things to life than just getting off your head. So that's one thing that I've learned as well, is that, we do change, and it is quite interesting to go back and do stuff that you did 10 years ago to see if you have changed.
Yeah, I haven't smoked weed since like 1996, 95, 96. So I mean, when I'm done working, then I'll probably take it back up. But I don't have any, like, I'm not tempted to do it. It's just and I found out I didn't need it. Like, when I stopped, I was gonna just stop for a little while until I got a job. I got laid off, so I'm like, let me get my system clean, and I'll be right back, fellas. And then once I was clean, and I was just like, I didn't even I could be in a room full of smokers and not be tempted to smoke. So yeah, you're right. Some of that stuff changes, but I still, for me, if I got, limited time, it's going to be family for me. I don't need to jump out of a plane or anything like that. I'm going to go out boring, laying in the bed, boring, and just, trying to create some memories for the people around me.
I can hear harmony in my head. Come on, y'all. This is boring shit. So, Howard,
WWHS.
I think we're about done, guys. Really, I mean, we can shut shop early, or is there anything that you guys would like to talk about?
Next week, we need to answer Rodney's enthralling question from last week. Like, what are good childhood memories? No bad childhood memories, because it's Rodney's question, Mark.
Yes.
Yeah, we want to do that with all of us here. So,
yeah, I forgot about that, to be honest with you.
I did. I
About
did. I
that.
want to bring it up.
Well, the thing is, it's the fact that you brought this. That was the original conversation, and Howard had to chuck his question over the top of you and try to belittle you by overtaking your. Do you know what I mean?
Well, the reason why he can belittle me is because he's strong, and the reason why he's strong
is
because
he takes Howard's blend, protein powder.
I don't know how to do a commercial, but a little
Howard's blend plant-based protein powder with 20 grams of plant-based protein to fuel your day.
Have any of you guys been watching the Queen's Jubilee over here in the UK? She's been in charge for 70 years. Have you seen any of it on the telly and the news about it at all?
No.
Well, that's a good fucking conversation. Wasn't it?
I'm like, I do not give two fucks about the Queen or the royal family.
But a lot of people in the States do. A lot of people.
I don't
love the Queen.
I don't mind them. I don't get it, but I do know somebody that has a really good channel when it comes to stuff like that. So, and it's interesting, but I got to catch up on. I had to catch up on the Obi-Wan Kenobi series, man. I can't be watching the Queen.
That's on Netflix, isn't it? Just come through now.
Obi-Wan Kenobi, no, that's Disney.
Disney Plus. Yeah, that was it. Yes. I did see it come through somewhere. I'm thinking of the craze.
Disney.
Yeah, you don't have Disney? How can you not watch? How can you not have Disney? Because you can't watch Walking Dead if you haven't got Disney.
I've never watched The Walking Dead.
Jesus, man.
Like with movies, I'm like that with series. I do not care about Walking Dead. People, you got to watch Game of Thrones. I do not care to watch Game of Thrones. I really don't give a shit.
I haven't seen that either.
I've never seen Game of Thrones. Never seen it.
Game of Thrones.
Anyway, guys, jobs are good in. 57 minutes there of hopefully we've entertained the listener. Thank you very much for the people that's been in here and interacting and commenting. It really, really does mean the world to us. Please drop us an email, right? Where's let's see if I can find it. Send us an email. I can't find it. Don't worry about it. I think we're at the official5deep@gmail.com there, aren't we, Howard?
Correct. I think it's in the we're learning here. Technical difficulties. Here we go.
Is this for the Game of Thrones? I think it's for Game of Thrones. People love Game of Thrones.
Official
Friends. I hear about Friends. I don't care about Friends or whatever that show is. Like, it's just, sorry. Go ahead, Mark.
I don't know. You've lost me now. You're confusing me.
Official5deep@gmail.com. Please email us any questions you may have. You can also send us an email about how handsome Howard is. I appreciate that. I know. I hear it. I didn't hear it in high school, but I hear it a lot now. So.
And also the Veteran Crisis Hotline is 1-382.
That is important. That is important.
8255.
These are my friends.
Guys, thank you very much for joining us. It's been emotional. Have a great week. Look after yourselves. Stay safe. Stay classy. And see you same place, same time next week, I do believe.
Thank you all the veterans out there. Thank you for your service.